That's about as well as you could have possibly expected the Raptors to play, and that was that was a good game on one end, and what was that defense? What was that defense? So many open threes, clear lanes to the basket, blow bys, that fourth quarter. There's a lot of positives to talk about here. I'm not going to ramp negative. I realize I spent most of yesterday's live talking so much smack about Fred VanVleet, and he comes out and he has, despite what the comments I'm reading here, I think he played reasonably well tonight. I really do. Um, the team notably was just worse with him on the bench, and it wasn't even close. We're talking offensively. Offensive toughness on the road is a thing. You know, typically young teams struggle on the road for a reason. They don't have offensive toughness. Fred VanVleet showed offensive toughness. Was there a little bit too much bet on yourself stuff? Yeah. Was I screaming at my television when he took that, whatever the hell that was, against Giannis? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, sure I was. Even though he made it. I don't think that's a great shot. But credit where credit is due. Fred VanVleet was not your problem tonight. Um, what was your problem? Maybe sometimes there isn't a problem. Maybe sometimes you just go up against a really good team at home that you're supposed to lose against. But it's not sometimes the fact that you lost. That was expected. It's how you lost because this was a winnable game. And I think three, four, I want to say four players, five players. Five players played really well. So let's talk about them at first. The call in link is in the description below to anyone who wants to call in and talk about this event, ask, explore some questions. We can definitely talk about it. But let's look at what happened tonight for the Raptors. All right. So, first of all, Scottie Barnes goes out with an injury in the second quarter. Honestly, I don't care that he had 5 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. I don't know if he was going to put up the greatest fourth quarter of his life. I have no idea. But this was possibly the most frustrating game for Scottie I've seen in, I want to say, close to 2 months, where I just wanted him off the court. And I'm just being honest about it. Like, I didn't, I just want you to look at my face when I say that. It's sad to say he's my favorite player, but this was not a good game. Defensively, he was not engaged. It was a layup line. And there's no reason for that. He is too good, too important to sell that way. And you know what? Everything I know about Scottie Barnes, this feels like the type of team that he would really amp up for. You have a chance, your team has a chance to move to 500. The Atlanta Hawks lost tonight. You had a chance to move to 8th. The Miami Heat are firmly in free fall. A chance to maybe move up to 7th. The Brooklyn Nets might, I mean, my God, 6th, it's not out of the realm of possibility. But to just not, I didn't love the energy from Scottie tonight. Was it the injury? He was holding his hand. It wasn't just, that one play. He was holding his hand for quite a bit. So maybe it was that, but I didn't love the game from Scottie tonight. Moving on. Um, I liked the game overall from Fred VanVleet. I think he took care of the ball for the most part. He found Jakob Poeltl. He made the right play more often than not, at least in the first 3 quarters. He did hunt for his offense, but, a lot of it was good. Some really tough shots at the rim. The hilarious airball layup that Alvin Williams is going on about. It's about as good as you could expect from a player of his talent level to give you on the road against, frankly, one of the best defenders in the league in Drew Holiday and a mammoth, front court. You got to admire the balls, I guess, to go up against Giannis and Brook Lopez in the paint. He even finished one. I believe it was over Brook Lopez. So, credit where credit is due. I think offensive toughness was a big thing for him. That is not a typo. That is not a typo. Jakob Poeltl with 18 shot attempts is your second leading shot attempts guy for the Raptors, and he was negative 17 tonight. Don't let plus minus fool you there. I think he played a really good game. I think he was a great release valve for this team. 20 points, 6 rebounds, 0 assists. don't really tell the story of just how instrumental he was in terms of playmaking. Man, this guy is just always in the right spot. It's incredible. Um, for the starters, the third plus, obviously, OG and Anunoby, man, he guarded his butt off. I think he was just really tough. He made threes, 4 for 5. He doesn't shoot to miss. He was just really, he was really good, man. Like he was just really tough and he didn't look rattled. And when the Raptors fell into that drought in the fourth quarter where they couldn't buy a bucket and they started for the first 6.5 minutes, 1 for 10, he was the guy who broke it open with a three. He was the guy who sort of brought them back into it. I keep telling you, this is a guy you cannot afford to lose. Speaking of guys you cannot afford to lose, Gary Trent Jr., I mean, look, 6 for 18 is not great, but 5 for 10, I think he made tough shots. I think he competed on the defensive end. You all know that I don't think that Gary Trent Jr. is a good defender, but he competes. He competed, and he was a much needed spark for your bench. Again, 6 for 18. You're only at 33%. But if you look at his true shooting percentage, you saw 50% from three. I think 6 for 18 is very misleading on the type of night that he had. I think he played reasonably well. Precious Achiuwa, it's like the Raptor gods heard my cries yesterday for Precious Achiuwa to get some minutes. I think he played really well in that first stint. Team leading +7. Hey, Nick Nurse, pay attention, right? Again, plus minus, not the end of the world, not, game to game, not going to be the thing, but in this case, it really did show. He frustrated Giannis incredibly. He did a much better job on Giannis than anyone else on this team. And he might, if you meet this team in the playoffs, he might just be your best bet because he's one guy who's athletic enough, tall enough, long enough, and, committed enough, and his hands are quick enough to poke the ball away. And Giannis is just not there as a playmaker right now. If you send a double team and Precious is the primary, or even if Precious is the help, I think you got a shot, to consistently slow down Giannis. And I think he played really well. Again, he competed defensively. Offensively, it is what it is with Precious. You just hope for not a lot of stupid shots. He took 1 3. He got his own offensive rebounds, so no complaints there. He was overall a very net positive for this team. Chris Boucher, a typical Chris Boucher sort of game. 3 offensive rebounds, 0 defensive rebounds, 5 points. Didn't get a lot of burn tonight. Maybe he should have gotten, you know what? He really should have gotten some minutes. Now let's talk about the negative, right? And I'm gonna compartmentalize this with Will Barton, right? I mean, like I changed my tune a little bit and said I kind of understand the reasoning, but you all know that there was a video when Will Barton came to the Raptors where I said I don't get this. This is not it. This is not the answer. Why the hell are we doing this? This guy's not good. He's not good defensively. He's not good offensively. What the hell are we doing here? And, it kind of is what it is, right? At this point, you're prioritizing, a guy who's really not that much better than Malachi Flynn, Delano Banton. I don't even think he's better than Jeff Doughton, but you're putting him up there because he gives you that shooting. What's Malachi Flynn, yo? Earlier in the season, Malachi Flynn was shooting 48% from the three. Like, I mean, what's the trade-off here? 0 for 6, he really didn't give you anything, and he was a really big part of that lineup that completely failed to start the fourth. And I believe he was a part of the lineup that really squandered to start the second. So, you might have to reevaluate this. I realize when a veteran comes on late that you may have made some promises to him. But you know what? You made some promises to young players to allow them a chance. And at this point, I understand this bullshit that they're saving Jeff Doughton's games because he's a two-way guy. I'm sorry, Jeff Doughton would have helped tonight. I'm not saying he would have swung the game, but those minutes are important. Backup guard, whatever Will Barton is playing for you. I didn't like it tonight from him. Pascal Siakam. That beginning of the fourth quarter for Pascal Siakam, I kept feeling it in the third quarter. I'm like, this game's intensity is picking up. It's picking up. It's really picking up. Full disclosure, I don't like to talk about sports betting, but I slammed bets on the Bucks tonight. I couldn't stop it. Every time The Raptors went up a little bit. I was like, nope, another $20 on the Bucks. Yep, another. By the end of it, I just didn't even realize how much I had barked on the Bucks to win this game. And I got a little bit nervous when Fred VanVleet started hitting those shots. I was like, oh boy, this is going to cost me so much money. I'll be really happy for the Raptors if they win this game, but this is going to cost me an insane amount of money if they end up pulling this out. And then Pascal Siakam happened. I don't know what it is about intensity and this dude, but he looks like a deer in headlights. Defensively allowing a 35-year-old Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez is my age. I'm pretty sure. Brook and Robin are my age, right? 88? Yeah. So Brook's 34, 35 years old. He's 7 feet tall. You're a 27, 28-year-old, 28-year-old, twitchy, quick, agile, small forward, power forward hybrid. There is no way that Brook Lopez can get by you on a blow-by. That's ridiculous. The number of times he sold offensively and defensively was ridiculous. The shots that he took were ridiculous. Whatever I'm saying about Fred VanVleet offensive toughness, Siakam is the exact opposite of that tonight. This is ridiculous, and it sucked the wind out of your team. Yo, this bench was really into it. You could tell coming into that third quarter, going into the fourth, this team really believed that they were about to upset this team at home. The Bucks, I'm not going to say they look rattled, but they looked alert. They looked like, oh shit, I did not expect this, lottery team to really come and shock us, but they've come to play. And that intensity felt like it was getting too high for Siakam. Happens every time. Every time. Every time that intensity picks up. Yo, he was beasting against Middleton in the first quarter, and I'm surprised at how bad Chris Middleton has fallen off defensively. It's ridiculous. But where was that in the third quarter, fourth quarter? Where was that in the fourth? Where was that? I mean, this team really, look, part of it is on Nurse too. That second unit that struggled with O.G. and Anunoby, honestly, man, that's on Nurse. Because he went way too long with that unit. But without Scottie Barnes, what do you do? Where do you go? Where do you go for playmaking? I'm not really sure, but that lineup wasn't it. In that second one with Pascal to start the fourth, I understand you can't play Fred all the minutes, and maybe that wouldn't have helped because he would have taken more shots and missed more shots, and he needs rest. And running the offense through Siakam, it just did not work. And I think it was a really big part of it. I think the Bucks abused him, like legitimately abused him. But granted, he had that very interesting and very good, I think Javon Carter just sometimes has some very questionable shot selection. Granted, he stayed with Javon Carter in the corner, where Javon was dancing, and threw up a Hail Mary. God, if you're a Raptor fan, you've seen a lot of that this year. But his defense, offense, he single-handedly tanked this game. I'm going to say it. He sold this game, man. He sold this game. This is ridiculous. This is your highest paid player. This is your so-called best player. He cannot do this. I'm going to be critical as hell of Scottie Barnes for, I think, really just not showing the right toughness and mental awareness on defense, giving Giannis a blow-by, giving Chris Middleton a blow-by. Like, that was not a good look for Scottie. He's definitely too good for that. But this, in the fourth quarter, from your franchise player, from your All-NBA guy, this is unacceptable. It just happens all too often with Siakam. It can't keep happening. This is ridiculous. Yo, like, I'm not even hating. This is ridiculous. And the worst part is it's so predictable. It's so predictable. So thank you, Pascal Siakam, for not costing me a fortune, because this was a very winnable game. I can't even believe I'm saying that. The Milwaukee Bucks on the road. Should I be happy that this team played well enough to get it there, or should I be upset that in the fourth quarter, Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam crumbled? It's ironic. It's very ironic yesterday that I was giving Kyle Lowry so many flowers for making that pass in the bubble over Taco Fall. And tonight, Fred VanVleet inbound pass over Drew Holiday. Can't make it. 6'3", 7'6". Same height player. You have, okay, now let me caveat this with Fred. Point of attack defense was lackluster as hell, right? really bad. Okay, guys got by him whenever they wanted. Drew Holiday, one step in the paint. Giannis, Brook Lopez, it doesn't matter. He was just gone. His passing tonight, 11 assists, was very misleading. His shot making is the only thing I will give him like solid credit for. That was needed and absolutely amazing. But his passing tonight, the number of times he passed the ball to someone's feet, someone's, elbow, man, he is lucky his teammates can catch the ball. Jakob Poeltl is a dream pick and roll partner because that guy's got great hands. Scottie Barnes, great hands. Pascal Siakam, really good hands. He's very lucky. The guys on this team have good hands. So is Pascal, because neither one of these guys are accurate passers, and they throw shit all over the place. Literally, a pass that's supposed to be here is like 2 feet off all the time. I'm surprised. It's a blooper reel waiting to happen. And I'm not going to make it, but I'm just saying there are limits to when you run an offense through gifted passers and when you run the offense through new passers and maybe not so gifted passers. You run an offense through Jaylen Brown, no offense, Clutch Tatum, it's not going to be great. It's not going to be great. He's not a very good passer. You don't run an offense through Giannis Antetokounmpo, it's not going to be great either. You got to run an offense through a gifted playmaker. A Drew Holiday is a pretty good playmaker, so you can do it through him. Jakob Poeltl is a really good playmaker. I would rather see this team push it down into the post. I was looking up Jakob's numbers last night. His numbers with the Raptors this season are really like almost indistinguishable from like Tim Duncan 2010, 2011. Can you believe that? That's the level of impact that you've just imported from the Spurs. You should be better, and you have been better, but it is because he is able to catch these wild ass passes. It's because he's able to clean up these blow-bys. He was incredible at the rim. Incredible. Jakob Poeltl, honestly, for me, player of the game. Jakob and O.G. Those two guys, wow. Scottie Barnes, need to pick it up. Pascal Siakam, what the hell? Fred VanVleet, very incomplete. As a playmaker and a defender, what the hell? Shot making toughness, offensive toughness, timely buckets, very big. Great for him. That is sort of where I stand on the Raptors. Now the Bucks, right? I think Giannis Antetokounmpo is, maybe getting a little PTSD. Raptors PTSD, man. What the Raptors did to him the year that they won. Same coach, man. Same coach. He's got his number. Giannis with the weirdest triple-double ever. You didn't feel it. You did not feel his 22 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists, but he manages a triple-double. I think he's one of the top 2, top 3 players in the league, but he has the limitations. And, it's weird to even be saying this about a guy who was literally perfect from the field, right? But embrace your limitations. He made passes. Turnovers or not, he had 3 turnovers tonight, which is a far cry from the 12 turnovers he had. But he embraced passing to his teammates tonight. It did not matter that Middleton had more shots. Brook Lopez was open when he was slashing behind the defense. Bobby Portis just killed the Raptors. I know the numbers don't look great for him. 14 points. You're like, oh, killed the Raptors, 14 points. Man, timely buckets with that second unit. He was great. Javon Carter, 3 for 9, but all threes, and they needed them. Joe Ingles, Pat Connaughton, honestly, they provided spacing and shooting, and the Raptors were just willing to surrender threes all night. It was shocking how many of those threes were wide open. So, you defend a 3 this way from a team that just is 4th in the league at taking threes and 4th in the league at making threes, unfortunately, you're going to surrender a lot. In terms of the team stats, just take a quick look at this. The Raptors manage to shoot better from 3 than their opponent. I mean, if you're a Raptor fan, 41% from the 3 against one of the better defenses in the league honestly should be music to your ears. I think it's shooting variance. It was hot shooting tonight, 14 for 34. But the Bucks take more threes, make more threes as per expectations. They get out rebounded. And, despite the fact that they take way more shots, the Bucks get more free throws and they make more shots. They're way more efficient at the rim. And that's sort of the story, right? The Bucks, it was a block party at the rim. Obviously, if you're going to attack defenders that are that gifted at shot blocking, you're going to have a few blocks. And, in terms of turnovers, the Raptors really took care of the ball tonight. I believe they had one turnover or two turnovers going into the fourth, but obviously, timeliness of turnovers matters a lot. And the Raptors just turned the ball over a lot down the stretch. A lot of that was Fred VanVleet. And of course, if you look at the fourth quarter scoring, it's not surprising, right? 16-29, you get outscored in the fourth quarter, despite coming out guns blazing in the third quarter and really just putting the Bucks on their asses. In the fourth quarter, the Bucks really answered the bell, and toughness is what it comes down to, and the Bucks showed it, and resolve and resiliency, or whatever you want to call it. And the Bucks had it, and the Raptors didn't. I'm just being honest. It's just, this is a team that has been to the finals together. This is a team that is veteran laden. Brook Lopez, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, these are solid dudes, and they've been around and they understand how to keep their composure. The Raptors lost their composure in the fourth quarter, and that's just what it is. They looked rattled, they looked phased, and if it were not for O.G. Anunoby and frankly Jakob Poeltl, quite frankly, this could have turned into a lot bigger mess than it was. Now we're going to get some calls here. We have Danny playing for what and Mario. So let's go to Danny. Danny, what's up, man? Hello?
Hey, Rob, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're wearing a
Hey,
mask?
buddy. Yeah, dude. So I had the luck of having to watch this game from the hospital.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. We're getting it sorted out. But I figured, I got some time, so I'd call in. First time calling in, but I watch the show all the time.
I appreciate it.
For sure, man. You got really good insight, and you're not afraid to say when you're wrong. So that's huge from a commentator, right? Like a
Thank you. I
well,
appreciate that. What'd you think of the game tonight?
uh, so unfortunately, I agree with a lot of what you said. Big time, that fourth quarter showed us. I don't really understand why Nick Nurse had Jakob sit as long as he did. I did think Precious was looking good in there, but Barton, he didn't have it going. He wasn't playing defense. I don't understand it, but at the same time, maybe they were looking at the plus minus and thought Pirtle wasn't being effective, but I feel like anyone with eyes could tell he was really playing great defense out there. Pretty much the only guy who could stop Brook Lopez and control the glass, apart from Precious. But it really did feel like the call, that charging call against Giannis
Mm-hmm.
and against O.G.
That got overturned?
That got overturned. And I don't know if it's maybe an implication of how this team's going with the reffing and all that stuff, but okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. I gotta go here, but I apologize. I gotta go get an X-ray.
No problem. I hope you're feeling a lot better. Chat, give Danny a thumbs up, and hope things are all good. And yeah, I hope you feel better, man.
Thanks, brother. Take
Cheers.
care.
Yikes. Well, Danny, if you are still watching this and after your x-rays you want to call back, man, feel free to call back, and sending you some healing prayers, and I hope you're doing good, man. Shout outs to Danny. Feel better, Danny. Prayers up, brother. Nice. Yeah. Okay, next up, playing for what?
Hello?
Hey, how's it going? Playing for what?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
To Danny, I hope he feels better, or whatever happens, good luck to him, and hope he's well.
Yep.
This game, well, for sure, as exactly as you said, it was winnable. A couple, I think, tactical mistakes happened in the fourth quarter. I don't know what degree of blame you want to put on Nick, and obviously I feel like it was rotational mistakes. I don't know.
Let's break them down. What's the rotational mistake?
I mean, I feel he probably wanted Jakob to be fresh for when Giannis was put in the game. That would be my guess. I don't know what his actual reasoning, but to think that Boucher could defend or Achiuwa could probably defend Brook, I feel like it was just a huge mistake because I just felt like automatically they were going to be aggressive with Brook, which is exactly what ended up happening. The other thing is that that lineup is not capable of pulling Brook to the 3-point line. Like Brook could just stay kind of sag off Chris because Chris is not a good enough shooter if unless it's completely open. So this is too easy
Yeah.
for him.
One thing I really appreciated about Jakob Poeltl tonight is that even though Brook was backing off of him, he would
Yeah,
actually use that gap to attack him. And there was a couple times tonight where you would see Brook just kind of hanging back and sort of just playing drop.
exactly.
And he did what Scottie didn't do when they played him this way, which is he attacked and then put a put a floater up. I think one time he attacked from about 8 to 10 feet and he made it, and then one time he attacked and he just went right to the basket.
Yeah,
And that's exactly what you need to do, right? You have forward
exactly.
momentum going, and if the guy's going to give you that much space, that's runway. So that was really smart. Every day I watch Jakob Poeltl, I am more and more just amazed at how smart he is.
Exactly.
Honestly, one of the smartest basketball players in the NBA. Is that a
I,
hot take? He is
No,
so
he definitely
freaking.
is. I'm incredibly impressed with him, and I know I don't know how you feel about the trade. Maybe you still feel badly, but I don't know whatever player we're gonna get next year will be as good as Yak. Maybe the timeline won't fit, but like Yak is proving to
Yeah,
be
I was thinking about it. Do I still give it a D? No, I think I would give it maybe a
probably like
C.
yeah, C or maybe like a B minus.
I
Um,
don't think I go to B minus. The reason I don't go to B minus is you still give up 3 picks and you still double down on this core and you still cost yourself a very good draft pick this year. Um,
I mean
you
next year.
know, this year.
Oh, it was 2024, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, you lost that, but you also lost the ability to finish like top five, top six this year because
Oh,
Jakob was obviously going to make you better. And
yeah,
it's sort of like, okay, two timelines. Timeline number one, you're witnessing better basketball with Jakob Poeltl. You have a serviceable center that you're going to re-sign this offseason. He wants to come back. You want him to come back, etc. But the guy that he's developed all this chemistry with, which is Fred VanVleet, you're probably not bringing him back. And if you are bringing him back, my question is how and why? Because your franchise cornerstone plays point guard full time, and that's his position. It's a very confusing thing. Uh, I rehashed it. I don't want to rehash this because I talked about it yesterday in the
yeah,
live. But like, I mean, to me, it's just confusing. And then on top of that, yeah, you do lose a chance at a top five, top six player. And two timelines. Timeline number one is this. Timeline number two is you play Christian Koloko, Precious Achiuwa. You sit Fred VanVleet the way you did Kyle Lowry in Tampa, and you just say, okay, we're developing with the youth. It didn't work out with this core. We'll look to trade, Pascal or O.G. or whoever the hell in the offseason. We're looking to rebuild. No shame in that, and I'd be perfectly fine rooting for that team. And every single day I'd be telling you, hey, Delano Banton's shot looks better today, or Ron Harper Jr. is flashing some better defense. I'm perfectly fine with that. I think it's okay to accept reality. And the reality is what you just watched tonight was a Bucks team that woke up in the fourth quarter. That's really what it is.
that's
That
true.
team did not play with the Raptors showed up to play. Like, I will
Mm,
not question the Raptors' effort at all. Scottie Barnes' effort, different story. But this team, like whether it was injury or whatever, I'm not thrilled with the game that Scottie had prior to injury. But everyone else was trying. It's not like Siakam wasn't trying. He was trying. It's just the bad habits. These are things that he's been doing all year. So it's not for a lack of trying. It's just he has bad habits and he has a limited skill set, and it gets exposed when you go up a level. So it's not like you play really hard, and when this team meets you at that level, if you're going up in look, at the end of the day, it comes down to game sevens, right? Just game seven. My best against your best. My best game. What can you take away? What can I take away? Right?
yeah,
Against the Philadelphia 76ers, probably the toughest matchup that the Raptors had in 18-19. They put Jimmy Butler, Ben Simmons, and various, doubles and switches on Kawhi. And Kawhi had an abysmal shooting day. You know, the day that he hit that shot, I mean, people forget. Check his box score that day. But my best against your best. 8 seconds, 6 seconds. What can you do? You know, they have a guy that you cannot stop.
box score. You mean in terms of his plus minus or his points?
No, I'm talking like in terms of. Sorry, what
His
are you referring
efficiency.
to?
Sorry, Kawhi's. Are you talking about like his efficiency that night?
Yeah, check his efficiency in that game.
Oh no, it was awful.
In that final
Everybody's
game, he was
efficiency was awful, and nobody was hitting anything.
Yes, but that's the thing, right? When you needed it, he got it.
Yeah.
He said he was tired. He had to aim it, whatever. Yeah, he got it, and that's what you play for. You played every minute of that series to get down to 8 seconds to give yourself a chance, and you had a better shot with Marc Gasol and everything that you had, Serge Ibaka, whatever, on their best player, which is Joel Embiid, than they did on your best player. That's just really what it comes down to. So often you will find that the best player in the series wins the game, wins the series. And in the case against the Boston Celtics, it's going to be Jason Tatum, man. It's going to be Jason Tatum. It's going to be Jason Tatum. Don't fucking even joke. It's going to be Jason Tatum. And if it's not going to be Jason Tatum and he floats away, it's going to be Jaylen Brown. Because those two guys, you cannot stop them one-on-one. Nobody can. They're not stoppable. They'll stop themselves by taking stupid shots and take themselves out of the offense, and the coach has to yell at them. They'll freeze up their own team, but they're too talented. And on the other end, you have a guy that they can stop. That's the problem. So until you have a guy that they can't stop, which always forces a collapse, like Giannis. Giannis is a heavily limited offensive player, but you cannot stop him one-on-one. Yeah. Anytime he wants, he's getting to the basket. He shot 9 for 9 tonight. You didn't do shit. Put him at the line every single time. He took 2 steps in the paint, whatever, forced free throws, etc. Couldn't stop him. And you have literally the team designed to stop him. There's no one else with the team that has more guys who look like they should be able to stop him. And you've added Jakob Poeltl, and he still shot 9 for 9.
Yeah.
That's the difference. So, maybe you have to say to yourself, well, I'd rather he shoot 9 for 9 than 18 for 18. This is where we're at. We're trying to get to a point where Pascal Siakam can shoot 8 for 20 against a guy who's probably going to shoot 18 for 18. That's the difference. And that's a big difference. And you need historic shooting variance for an entire series to overcome that type of difference. And quite frankly, you're just not going to get it. It's just not going to get it. In the playoffs, maybe for a couple of quarters, you're going to be able to mismatch on Chris Middleton. In the fourth quarter, they'll take that away. They will take that away. I don't think the Bucks or the Celtics are unbeatable. I just think that the Raptors have, some growing to do. And, I'm not really sure I don't know what the answer was tonight. It's hard to be hard on this team right now because they played their butts off on a back-to-back. It's worth mentioning this was a back-to-back against the best team in the league.
Yeah.
At home. And you played them. Sure. And it sucks, man. It sucks that you had it and then you lose it. And you can look at it one of two ways. You can say Rob's being a hater, right? He's being a hater. He's always being a hater. He's always got to have something to criticize about. Or you can say, I believe in this team. I actually believed that this was a winnable game. And that sounds crazy to say, but, I don't know.
I agree. Earlier you mentioned that we let a lot of threes. I actually think that's one of the biggest losses that we have with Scottie, because Scottie's ability to just X out so quickly when he's really engaged defensively is what makes this defense so great. And because he could easily, if Giannis is going down, he could obviously switch into Giannis and then hand him off to Yak, and maybe OG will double, and then he can go out to the open shooter. And then that's what makes this defense great, is like the ability to continuously peel switch to open shooters and eventually force a very contested shot. Hopefully, at least that would be the ideal. But I definitely, if Scottie was engaged tonight, I feel like there would have been a little bit better defense in the fourth quarter. But of course, that's not what happened. The other thing is, I saw them run one DHO for Gary Trent Jr. and it was completely open and he missed it. But I was like, why don't you just do this again? Like, this was a good shot. They're staying way too attached to Fred or players like that. Like, it's just very interesting to me that maybe it's just not in their playbook, or it's just not something they practice a lot in their practice time. But they were able to get some open shots and they didn't go back to it. It was like they missed it and it was like, why don't you just go try again? This is like, clearly they're playing you way too tight, and if you get a good screen from Yak, like, you're gonna be completely open. And that's the other thing. I was like, why is Will Barton taking mid-range shots, like contested mid-range shots? Like, what's going on? Like,
yeah, it occurred to me that there's probably someone out there who doesn't understand what a peel switch is. Do you want to explain it?
Well, in this particular case, what I'm thinking, what a peel switch.
Just look at your screen.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. There we go. So basically, if they beat you going down the lane, you would have somebody come and help. So for example, in the corner, somebody would come help and take your mat, and then you would go out to the open shooter, basically. So for example, if Yak is successfully able to stay closer to the rim and Giannis is going, you would have Yak take if you're like your OG in the perimeter and Giannis is going down the lane, he's able to get past you. Yak would then take Giannis, and then you would switch out to the open Carter or something that Giannis would probably try to pass to you, that would basically typically be what you would be trying to focus on essentially.
It's very big in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, what else, do you have any final thoughts?
No, just you're absolutely right. The best player almost always wins, and the team has to be incredibly team oriented. If you don't have to be the best player, I mean, you also still have to be incredibly team oriented, even if you do have the best player. But you have to really be one of the greatest teams of all time to be
Did
able
the
to beat it.
Raptors impress you tonight?
I did in many ways, and it
Yeah,
disappointed
me
me in
too.
other ways.
Yeah, me too. I think like it's really difficult to gauge who you are against the Minnesota team, coming in on a back to back. I think these are the types of games that show you the gaps, and I think it's a good thing. I'm really happy the Bucks didn't rest their players, or that I mean, they gave you, I don't want to say a great shot, but they gave you a half decent shot. You got to see the gaps. And hopefully this humbles them out a little bit. But also I hope that this team is really proud of themselves because they laid it all on the line. You
Yeah,
know, whatever you want
especially
to say
OG.
about
OG and Gary should be really proud of themselves.
OG, Gary, and Jakob. I
Yeah,
think those
absolutely.
three should be really proud of themselves. I think Fred VanVleet should be really proud of himself too.
He
I
should
think he,
definitely.
he tried his best tonight. Pascal Siakam, honestly, man, look in the mirror. Like this is I was not like no, it's just not it. I cannot like say it's hard, man, because that's what makes this game winnable. That's what made this game so winnable. Is if he doesn't sell, if Scottie, comes out engaged and energized defensively in the first quarter, and Siakam doesn't completely go bumpkin in the fourth quarter, like I don't see how the Bucks win this game. I really
Yeah,
don't. It's not like they were just having some hot shooting night or Giannis was just really cooking or they were just like really having a great game. You catch teams napping. Like teams lose all the time, games that they're supposed to win. And I just think that this was one of those ones where,
absolutely. That's why there's
it
no
kind of,
82 win seasons. That's why you'll never have probably will never have an 82 win season, even if you have. Anyways,
yeah, yeah. All right.
thank you.
Anyways, man,
You have a
thanks a
good
lot.
night.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, you too. Thanks. All right. Next up, AK and then Mario. AK, what's up?
Not much yourself.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. Just enjoying the night.
Thoughts on the game?
Well, uh, it was a good, hard-fought effort, I would
Mm-hmm.
say, from some individual players. There were some issues from coaching decisions. There's some issues with Pascal.
Tell me, what were the issues, the coaching decisions? Too much Will Barton?
Yeah, I would have to agree. Like, what's it called? That what's it called? The start of the fourth quarter when Will Barton was playing, they just kept playing all bunch of mid range shots. They kept bricking, like they were 1 of 10 in the fourth. The one thing was really funny was when OG got subbed in, Pascal got subbed in, I think Yak got subbed in too,
Well,
and then
Pascal was already on the court.
oh right. So OG got subbed in, and then Fred tried to get in, but they could not allow him.
Mm-hmm.
So then the play was just Will Barton comes in, holds the ball again, and then takes another mid range and bricks it. Which I
Yeah.
was so frustrated to watch that play. You knew that was going to miss, but why couldn't they just pass it to someone else for an open three? It was
Yeah, I
quite
think it's
frustrating to
just
watch.
it's momentum is such an important part of basketball, right? Like
Mhm.
you start to stack bad possessions together where you turn the ball over, you get the other team going, right?
Yes.
And I think that dunk, I mean, we could talk about several, momentum shifting plays. One of them was the overturn call on OG.
Oh,
You probably
100%
can't
agree.
like you can't control that. OG tried to do his best. They called it the other way. The other momentum shifting one for me is the blow by on Siakam from Brook Lopez. That reverse dunk. Ay, that was like
Oh, yes. Okay, no, no, yeah, yeah, no, I'm talking about,
you
yeah,
remember
yeah.
that, right?
Yes, yes.
That
Oh
is
man,
an absolutely
if
inexcusable
if
thing
he can blow past Pascal, that's just very sad. There was just no effort.
for real. Um,
Oof.
yeah, no, that's just definitely an inexcusable thing to happen for someone of that size to be able to do that to him.
Mhm,
Again, it's like, it's one thing when he just goes over Precious. That makes sense. People probably don't know this. Precious is about 6'7", 6'8", right?
mhm, mhm.
So that makes sense to me. That makes sense. But for him to be able to do that against, like, it's not a post up. I get it. Like, Brooks is a hell of a post up player. He used to be like
Yes.
one of the premier post up guys in the NBA. Like, incredible.
Mhm. And
But
he's slow. He's slow, but he can do his job.
yeah, for sure he's slow. But, like, I mean, wide steps, and if you're not going to guard him, he's still an NBA player. Like, my
Mhm.
God. But I don't think I've seen him blow past a guy like that since maybe high school.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. You're probably
And I
right.
watched Brooke in high school. Yeah, so I mean,
Wow.
this is nuts to me.
Mhm.
So, anyways, you know what? Kudos to the Bucks. They played a hell of a game late.
Yes.
And but I think, again, some of these guys should be really proud of themselves. They
Yeah.
went toe to toe against the best team in the league, and this is just days after going toe to toe with the best team in the West. And they gave
Mhm.
them, they gave them a knockout. They gave them a knockout scare. They really
Yes.
did. Because there was a moment there where it was like Fred VanVleet shot, boom. Fred VanVleet, another shot, boom. And you're like, the Bucks are looking around like, are we about to fuck this up? It
Mhm.
felt real. Like, it felt
Mhm.
real. It felt like momentum had firmly shifted in the Raptors' favor. And I was like, wow, where's this
Yeah.
team been? I
Like
messaged
it was
FA.
really good in the second quarter. Like
Yeah.
when Pascal left and it was just OG and Scottie being used, and OG's actually got his first shot in the second quarter finally. It was
Hmm.
actually really good. The flow was very good.
Yeah,
Watching that second quarter. Oh man.
absolutely.
And then after that, I don't know what happened in the third and the fourth. But like I don't think OG had a shot in the fourth, in the like a 3-pointer in the fourth. Did he had a did he
Yeah,
have
he
one
had a three.
shot?
He had a three
Yeah.
pointer in the fourth. He
And
had
that
the one
was
3-pointer that
and
actually
that
like
was
drove.
it. I think that was the only one he had. After
Yeah.
that, he wasn't featured. They ignored him. Like the one play that pissed me off the most was the last minute, 45 seconds left. Pascal just keeps passing a yak, and I
Hmm.
remember OG did a quick pick, and he
Hmm.
was wide open for a three. You needed a three. I don't know why he went to yak and it slipped through yak's fingers.
That's exactly it.
And you
Yeah.
could have just passed to OG, and you needed the three. And OG's best fire was 4 of 5. So that play really frustrated me the most.
It was tough. Yeah. Anyway, man, thanks a lot for calling in. I
Yeah,
really
thank you so
appreciate you.
much.
Cheers.
You
Have a good
too.
one.
Bye.
See ya. Next up, Mario. What's going on, Mario?
Well, that was a good game. I was impressed with the effort early.
Hmm.
I love that. That I guess. I mean, I'm guessing it's Nick Nurse, but maybe it's Fred. But the idea of featuring Precious there for like 3 minutes at the end of the first, that was even though Fred threw the ball away to him several times. I
Hmm.
love that he looked good and they really had him focused and they were giving him the ball and letting him do what he does well. And that to me is a wonderful thing, that rather than put him on the bench and leave him on the bench, here it is, the back to back. And this
Hmm.
is the big team. It's not a team that Coloco is going to get killed against these guys, because between Portis and Lopez and Akumpo, oh my God, they're so strong. It's not even funny. So that's the game. And I thought Precious did a great job in the first half on Giannis. And according to the Bucks broadcast, you have to expect 20 and 10 from Giannis. It's the baseline, and we took them out of the game according to them. Like, they want 30 and 15 every night out of the guy. And they're like, well, it's the Raptors and they're good at this. And the last time Fred was here, he dropped 39 on us and blah, blah, blah. They're saying that over the last, I didn't get it, last week or last 2 weeks,
Hmm.
we're the second best offense and the second best defense in the league.
Yeah, we've also played some very, very bad teams, so small sample size. But yes, the Fred and Jakob pick and roll has been dominant, and teams are surrendering. A terrible, and Jakob has just been amazing. Look, I mentioned earlier in the thing that I looked up the numbers, and he's basically on par analytically with Tim Duncan in his
Yeah,
later prime. That's a Hall of Famer. He's playing like a top 10 player in the he's playing like a top 15 player in the NBA over, his Raptors second stint. So you haven't just added, Miles Plumlee, a better version of Miles Plumlee, or, you haven't just added like a better version of what he was. No, you just for 10 to however many games he's played for the Raptors so far, he's basically been an all NBA center. That's what you've added. And yeah, it's going to make your offense and defense a lot better, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah. No, I think I'm really happy we got Yak, and I think he's going to pair up well with Scottie, and I think that he's going to teach Koloko all sorts of wonderful things.
let
And
us hope.
and remember, I think our primary job right now is to trade maybe two of Fred, Pascal, OG, and Scott and Gary. And I don't know who's coming back and
How
how.
are you trading Gary if he's a free agent? How are you treating Fred if he's a free agent? These guys are just free agents.
Sign
So
and trade.
sign and trades are, I mean, sure, but easier said than done. They have to agree. They have to, have
Yeah,
to have interest in a team that doesn't have cap space to sign them outright. It's complicated. It's really
well, it
complicated.
is, but I think there are contending teams who want Fred, like the Lakers. They want Fred.
Are
The,
the
the
Lakers are a contending team? How are they a contending team? They're like
well,
ninth.
they're not. They're on. I'm not saying they're going to make the finals or anything, but they got LeBron. It's a big deal.
What can they give you?
I have no idea. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
I think that I know that Fred would get picked up by a Houston or a really crappy team, and they would give him a big bag. But I think his ego says he wants to go to someplace cool. And
Someone said the Lakers are good. They have D'Lo, and I agree. We just saw D'Angelo Russell, give Fred the business just a few days ago, right? So, I mean,
that's right. I mean, what I'm talking about is older. Halfway, like near the trade deadline, I think the Lakers were one of the teams mentioned with Fred. But my point is, if he wants to go to someplace cool,
mhm.
all those places in my mind, anyways, or many of them, need to do a sign and trade in order to bring him in. And so, yes, you might not get everything, but yeah, so I would prefer to keep OG. That's my main thing. And I only want to keep one of Fred or Gary. But
Yeah, well, I mean, you saw tonight that Gary's shot making is just very invaluable. I don't know who's supposed to replace that shot making for you, but it's a high level skill set, and you're not really getting from Siakam. And unless Scottie Barnes puts in a miracle off season and wishes on a lamp or something, he's not going 5 for 10 from three. So again, in the modern NBA, you have to be able to score. You have to be able to score. You have to be able to defend. Gary does at least one of those two things reasonably well, and he's trying to do the other thing. So personally, I've flipped on Gary. I wanted him off this team to start this season. Now I want him back. I want him back. I want OG back. Yeah, I definitely want Fred gone, but that's about it. I want him gone. Anyway,
yeah,
Mario,
so
yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, uh, so I think those guys are all very near to the top of their value, and that this push makes them seem more valuable, not less valuable. And so if Masai pulls the right deal out of his ass like he's known to, I think next year could be really exciting. So
Yeah.
that's my hope. And I'll leave you with one thing from, I don't know, it's like 2 weeks ago. Um, I think it might have been Cleveland. The broadcaster said something beautiful. He said, they doubled down by getting Jakob Poeltl, and essentially the Raptors have turned the idea of 3-point shooting into a way to pass to their tall teammates off the iron.
That's funny. Appreciate that. All right. Thanks a lot, Mario. And yes, I got your email and I will respond to it very soon. All right.
Okay, have a
Cheers.
good night, bud.
Have a good one. See ya. Okay. We're going to bring on Daryl next. Before we do that, we are going to get to a couple of clips, very quick clips. One clip is O.G. Anunoby's post game, which predictably is 43 seconds long. I'm not kidding. And the other one is, a Pascal Siakam. I think one of the plays, when I say, when people are saying like, hey, Rob, like what the hell? I think this is what I mean when I say a lack of offensive toughness from Pascal Siakam. This play, honestly, is just, this kind of stuff is something that you just cannot have from your top option. So hang tight for a second. Pull this up. Okay. So this play right here.
See if this group.
So right here, right, they clear out for him.
The five can maintain the lead. See.
Right here, he has to react. Boucher is wide open in the corner. He has to see this, but he doesn't see this.
Siakam backing in on Middleton, has it poked away, 7 on the clock. Now.
Do you see Boucher just pointing, give me the ball? Look, they're not guarding him. They're loading up on Siakam. They're loading up the paint. You have to be able to make this pass. This is the exact pass. Flip side, this is the exact pass that Giannis made to Javon Carter. And yeah, Javon Carter shot 3 for 9, but it's still the right pass. You have to trust your teammates and you have to trust the process. Instead, you over dribble,
Gives it up.
And you pick up a turnover. And that's exactly what I mean. Like, this kind of stuff, just, it cannot happen. And that was pretty much the first play or the second play to start out the fourth. And it's plays like that where if you're Chris Boucher, you're feeling a little bit jolted, like, hey, I was wide open for like 7 seconds. Why didn't I get the basketball? And, if you're the rest of the team, you're thinking like, here we go again. Now, quickly, O.G. Anunoby, post-game. Love hearing from him.
We got some stops, and then we missed some open shots, and we'll live with that because you can't control the outcome. You can control getting a good shot or not. And then they made some open shots, and they got some offensive rebounds and stuff. So.
What do games like these mean in terms of, you just faced the best in the West earlier this week, and then now you're facing the best in the East? What do you take away from these types of games?
Oh, just good or bad. Just try to learn from it either way, and then just moving on to the next game. That's all you can do.
Then how important is this home front coming up?
Oh, definitely important. We want to take care of home court and go on another winning streak. Thanks.
Boss. Okay, so very quickly, someone is saying, look at the passing lanes. You know what? I bet you didn't think I'd pull this up again, but I will. Okay, you've asked us to look at the passing lanes, and like an evolved adult, I'm actually going to look at the passing lanes. You're asking me to look at the passing lanes, right? Okay. Here. Do I need to expand this for you? So when you say look at the passing lanes, I'm looking at it, okay? Javon Carter has his back. This is an easy pass. Look at the passing lanes. Come on, man. You about to get clowned. You saying like look at the passing lanes like we're just hating on the guy. And it's like, yes, look at the passing lanes. This is a wide open thing. Chris Boucher is not an idiot for asking for the ball here. Now continue to look at the passing lanes that you so eloquently asked us to look at. Here.
Siakam backing in on Middleton.
Guess what? Look at the passing lanes. If Chris Boucher was any... do the Bucks think that Chris Boucher has COVID right now? Is that why they're keeping 6 meters away from him? Because I swear to God, there's not a player within 6... Okay, that's not 6. 4 meters. They're 3 meters away from him. There's no one close. If this was Scottie Barnes, if this was a half decent passer, Boucher is probably cutting and getting a dunk over Bobby Portis, who's not really that big a shot blocker. Exactly. 3 guys are on Siakam. Yes, Con. That is well, first of all, that's not even true. Okay, see, this is where I get really frustrated, and the reason that I get frustrated is because people just insist on saying something that's happening that's not true. So here we have a comment here. 3 guys are on Siakam.
See if this
I see 1. Do you see 2? That's 1. Still 1.
5 can maintain
Still 1.
the lead.
Still 1.
Siakam
Still 1.
backing in.
Still 1. Still 1. Where's 3? Where's the 3 guys on Siakam? That's what I want to know.
Middleton has it poked away. 7 on the clock.
Still 1.
Now
Still 1.
faces up.
Still 1. Now there's none.
Give
And there's a turnover. Where's your 3 guys? That's what I want to know, yo. Where are your 3 guys? Some people get like, they're like, yo, why do you get so animated with the comments? This is why I get animated with the comments, because you guys just say things that aren't true. This is not true. There are 3 guys on Siakam. He gets double teamed all the time. Not true. Cap. Do I need to start wearing a blue cap? Come on, man. This is not true. Hunting the pass the whole time? Yeah, congratulations. That's every single... Yo, I'm telling you, any first option could have made that pass to Boucher 17 times. 17 times. Jeez. Okay, let's bring on Daryl before I lose my mind here. Daryl, what's up?
Hey, no, man, go ahead. Lose your mind.
What does this mean, Con? Look. Can we get to a point as a fan base? This is all I'm asking. Can we get to a point as a fan base where we can just talk about our favorite players fairly? Like, that means I can admit that I think Scottie Barnes, did not play well tonight, and you can admit that Pascal Siakam just made a really stupid play. Can we admit that? Or does it have to be like, oh no, my favorite player walks on water? No, that's not true. When I see videos like, oh, Pascal Siakam's above criticism, that pisses me off, because no, he's not. And neither is Scottie, and neither is Fred, and no one's above criticism. No one on this team, and the coaching staff's not above criticism, and Masai Ujiri's not above criticism. Don't close down your minds. Don't call every single thing that becomes like... Yes, he was. Thank you. Oh my God. Thank you. Okay, peace offering. Thank you very much. I will stop freaking out. Thank you so much. All right, Daryl. Now we're going. What's up?
How's it going?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
I know. It's funny, like I actually I called in with a bit of chip on my shoulder as well, because a lot of people are saying, well, it was a good game. It was a hard fought game. They gave it all they got. I am completely on the other side of the corn. I'm on the other side of the corn. There you go. I just corned a new phrase.
All right.
This game made my eyes bleed again. And remember a couple of days ago when I was saying how much I loved that game where they were moving the ball, and it just felt like a big weight off my shoulders. And Fred said after the game how it's like assisting on everything makes everything easier, and passing the ball and moving the ball around makes everything easier. Fred said that post game after he had a really good, I thought, a transcendent game where he was passing really well. And then it goes back to this. And this is why I always talk about the difference between being a baller and being a basketball player. Fred was balling today. And the team lost. And there is a correlation. I don't mean it's not causation necessarily, but there is a correlation here. And
what would you rather he do?
All right. Well, when Fred feels like Michael Jordan, he tries to play like Michael Jordan.
Okay, but I mean, look, I agree with you. It's not sustainable. And look, I spent an entire 2 hours yesterday ripping him.
Yeah.
But
I missed that. I'm going to go back and watch that.
Yeah, maybe that'll be cathartic for some people. Just go and listen to. I gave analogies about how, he's like, who did I compared him? Okay, now this is wild. I compared him to Elaine from Seinfeld. What? It was amazing. But I'm telling you, like, I watched him tonight, and no hater goggles. I think what he did was necessary. His shot making was necessary. I know sometimes what the shots that he and Gary take don't look like good basketball shots, and quite frankly, they're not. But those are the shots that your offense generates.
And like I said, he was balling because he's a baller.
Sure.
But that's different from being a basketball player. And what I would, to answer your question, what I would have rather that he did tonight is get the other guys involved. You know, like
Who?
he took it on himself, and it wasn't enough to get the win. He
Get who
he had
involved? Pascal?
try to get Pascal involved.
Why?
Well, okay.
He was
Why
sleepwalking, yo.
He was, but why?
He sleepwalked on defense. He sleepwalked. I mean,
You're right.
look, if
You're
Pascal Siakam wants the ball, he's got the ball. Okay,
100%.
he's got green light car, yo. But he ran away from the ball.
He did. He had a brutal game. I was getting to Pascal, believe me. But okay, so like I think that Fred had a baller game. Okay. The Raptors overall, what were their strengths? Why were they even in this game?
OG,
Jakob, obviously, yes. It was their transition in the first 3 quarters. It was their transition game. They were killing the Bucks in transition.
Yep.
And then they were hitting, and then Fred was hitting shots, and Gary was hitting shots, but Fred was hitting shots. And then Fred stopped hitting shots in the 4th, and they got away from transition in the 4th. And
I mean, they got back in the game when he came back.
Oh, I believe you. And do you know why? It's because when he was on the bench, Will Barton was in his place.
Yes.
Will Barton.
Is this like the seventh? Is this like the 7 circles of hell? You're just working backwards. You're peeling back. You started with Pascal. No, wait.
Yes.
You started with Fred, right?
Fred.
And then you moved to Pascal. Now you've gone to Will Barton. What's next?
Well,
Napoleon is Napoleon next.
I haven't even ripped into Pascal yet. He's getting a new hole in his body after I'm done with him. But
all right, go for it.
Like everything that you said, where did he go? Why was he? Where was he? What was in his brain? So this is one of the things that frustrates me so much about players, not just him, but I mean, there's 300 players in the NBA that do exactly the same thing. So I'm not just ripping on just like him. In fact, probably more. You know, there may be 25 guys in the NBA that don't do what he does. So it's not like I'm saying that he's trash, but I just mean you need more from him. You need him to say, listen, I need to be the guy to step up and make good plays that are winning high efficiency plays down the stretch. It just makes it drives me nuts. Like the Brook Lopez blow by, I literally almost shut the game off right at that moment. It made me so angry. Like physically, I felt like I was almost shaking. I was so physically angry. And I'm a very even-keeled guy most of the time. I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And I should have. Anyway, no, this is not a rant. I don't want to turn this into a rant. I want to actually have some sort of insight here. So I think that one of the things that Pascal always does is that I've noticed for years is that when he gets frustrated by things that he thinks are unfair, he just gives up. And I saw a couple of times where he made some pretty strong takes and he got nailed on his ass. He got shouldered, he got pushed, he got flattened, and there was no call. And you could see him trying not to argue with the ref, but you could see it in his face where he was just like, and this is what happens to him. It happened earlier when he wasn't getting benefits of calls. He would just go flat. And I don't want to rip
spiral. Some people spiral. Would you agree with that? I think there
spirals.
are some people that, you know, and look, I here's something, you know, that I hate to say publicly to 211 people watching. I spiral. I'm someone who sometimes has to jolt myself before I allow bad things to string together. I can spiral very quickly. It comes from childhood. It comes from maybe you know, a certain type of mind. I've spiraled many times in my life. There's a basketball game where I was having a really bad game. I missed a really big shot, and I kept thinking about that shot that I missed. And I'm bringing the ball up the court, and something catches out of the corner of my eye, and I dribbled the ball off my foot. It was a 1-point game. I dribbled the ball off my foot. Went out of bounds. We had 8 seconds left. We lost the game. Yo, that was a really quiet bus ride home. I can't believe I did it. I mean, I wasn't some great ball handler, but I can't believe I did that. But I was still thinking about that last thing, and it just kind of got to me. And it's crazy to compare my stupid ass high school, you know, basketball thing to a professional basketball player, but that's mental. How did Chris Webber travel and then call a timeout that he didn't have in the Final Four as the best player in the country. It's mental, because he had many brain farts from that point all the way till the end of his career for Sacramento. There are plenty of big moments where he wasn't big enough, and when the lights got bright, it's crazy enough to say this, but the TNT group, Charles Barkley. Do you remember
Shaq,
when they did
yeah.
a draft? Do you remember when they did an all-time draft? Do you remember watching this?
Yeah,
When
yeah, yeah,
Charles Barkley
yeah,
hilariously picked Allen Iverson #1 by accident?
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I remember.
Do
He
you
still gets.
remember? Do you remember Chris Webber? And he was just always unprepared, and the clock would get to him, and he would just be like, I don't know.
Yeah,
He was just always unsure. There's too much
yeah,
pressure. Some people don't deal
yeah,
well with pressure.
yeah, yeah.
And he's someone that has just never dealt well with pressure. He's a hell
Yeah.
of an athlete, a hell of a talent. He's just someone who didn't deal with pressure. I feel Siakam's the same way.
I agree completely, but I also think that when things aren't going his way, he gets way too low, way too down on himself. It's different from the spiraling thing. He gives up. He gives up, and he needs to grow up. And sure, you know what? I understand that some people aren't built for the bright lights. Not everybody's a superstar. Not everybody can do it. But don't give up.
Yo, the defense has nothing. It's one thing to say, offensively, you kind of fuck up and you lose the ball, or, you throw a bad pass. But defense is non-negotiable. Defense
That's
is
effort.
effort.
That's right.
It's effort. And to sell that hard, and to just let guys go backdoor over and
Yeah.
over, his defense has
Yeah.
been so bad this year,
Yeah.
and it's just getting worse. And I'm seeing a guy who's not really taking a step back athletically at all.
No, not
So
at all.
this is just I'm saving myself for the offensive end because I gotta, and this is
Mm-hmm.
not competitive. People who people who want to win, they compete on defense. That's just it.
Well, remember the movie Gattaca? You ever
Yes.
watch that movie? My
Yes.
favorite part, my absolute favorite part of that movie is the swim. Where they're swimming, and the brother comes back and he's like, "How did you do that? How did you beat me? You shouldn't have been able to beat me." And the brother's like, "I didn't save any energy for the swim back. He just did it out of his own. He did it
I
out of
remember
his
that
own.
line.
Like that stuck with me, and that's what we need from these guys. He shouldn't save himself. He should find that extra energy after he's just given everything in the first half. He needs to find that extra energy in the second half, or just whatever.
Do you
Any
think?
point in the
Do
game.
you think the defense? Because obviously the defense with Will Barton, Gary Trent, like there were some defensive liabilities on the court. Do you think Scottie being healthy might have swung the game for this team, or do you think? Because he was hitting his shots, right?
He was.
He hit
Oh
a
man.
three.
Beautiful.
His stroke was feeling it. Maybe he was gearing up for a 25-point game. My only critique of Scottie on this game really was his defense. I did not like his defense at all tonight, but offense was fine.
I love the
Passing
shots
was
he was
fine.
hitting.
Yes.
And you know what he's doing? He's stringing together games where he's doing that turnaround mid-range shot that's falling. That's
Yeah,
the
I love
most.
it. You know
I
what?
love to see that.
It's so funny. I shared a story of him, the mid-range shot, Kawhi, Michael Jordan, everyone calling me crazy ass Scottie fan for doing that. And then let's just say total coincidence. But I think an hour later he shared a post of him hitting that shot, that fadeaway mid-range shot, that exact one that was the subject of my video. And I was like, he's proud of that because he's had to work really hard for that. And I'm very proud of him, and I'm very happy for him that he's going to continue doing that. But for him to be a part of this team, a big part of this team, for, him to succeed as a third, fourth option, whatever the fuck they have him playing right now. Sorry for swearing. I apologize. Specifically with you, I'm sorry for swearing in case you end up wanting to show your kids.
My kid's not here. Don't worry.
Okay. Yeah. Because one time Daryl told me, he's like, yo, I want to be able to show my kids your show, but you swear so much. I apologize. Yeah. So basically, if he's going to thrive as a third, fourth option, well, third, fourth options cannot be defensive liabilities. I would argue first options can't be defensive liabilities, but it's more tolerable than, a third, fourth option being your defensive liability. And, it's just, it's Scottie's a very selfless person. The selfless thing is to guard your man, because you don't guard your man, you create a headache down the line for somebody else. They pick up fouls, but I think Jakob had 5 fouls tonight, so, you're creating a lot of problems. And, credit to Jakob. Like, it's just really grown on me, man. Really grown on me.
He's so smart, man. I just love to. I like smart. Speaking. Okay, and just in closing, in my little rant, um, you know how I mentioned just a few minutes ago that when Fred starts playing like or starts feeling like Jordan, he starts trying to play like Jordan. Well, I also noticed a moment where he started feeling like Magic.
Oh,
Hear me out.
really?
Hear me out. The Raptors did a very good job of protecting the ball today. They limited their turnovers, especially in the first three quarters. But I don't remember exactly when it was in the game. I think it might have been the end of the third or the beginning of the fourth. And it was the Raptors' third turnover of the game. When Fred had the ball, and usually when Scottie or whatever, when they're looking to make a deceptive no look pass, they notice where the guys are first, then they misdirect by looking somewhere else, and then they thread that pass. But not Fred. Fred took it a level higher. Fred didn't look to see where the guys were first. He just wired a pass that would have been total pure Magic Johnson if there had been a human being standing where he threw the ball.
That's funny.
And it
Yo,
actually
there
made
was a
me laugh out loud.
there was a play where he sent an alley oop. I think it was to Precious, and ended up getting tipped in by Bobby Portis. Was that
I forgot.
was that the play? And then he's laughing at
No.
the end of the first quarter.
No. This is the play. This is the play. It was in the third. It was like he literally wired the ball to nobody. And it was just quick. Like it wasn't like he was holding the ball and then just got some miscommunication. It's like I forget. It was off an inbound or maybe he just caught the ball and just instantly wired it out of bounds. And there was nobody there. It was on the baseline. It was baseline out of bounds. Like he passed it to the dunker spot, but nobody was there.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was hilarious.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of compliments here. Jamaballer, Clover, your representation of our casual fan base. I'm done with you unless you'd like to debate. Why don't you both call in and debate and I'll moderate? How about that? That's an open challenge to you, Jamaballer. If you have an internet connection, which you obviously do since you're accessing this chat, all right? You guys actually want to have a debate? Have a debate. Structure it. I'll let you speak. We'll give you a structured debate. We'll give you. I don't know if you guys have ever had a structured debate, but
I'd love to see that.
As a nerdy ass person who was on the chess team and the debate team, I can definitely structure a debate for you. No problem. Black Clover greatness. I don't even know what we're debating over. Debate over.
There you go. The end. What a letdown. What a letdown.
That
I was
sucks.
looking forward to that.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, Daryl, thanks a lot for calling, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. See you in the next one.
See ya. All right. We don't have any more callers lined up, so unless these two want to call in and have a structured debate, which, by the way, I would be very, very open to two people calling in and having a debate at some point. If you guys, if two people are, hashing it out in the comments, let us all enjoy, the voices. Let's enjoy the banter. It could be really fun. I promise I'll stay out of it for as much as possible, unless you say something egregiously stupid like Pascal Siakam is better than Michael Jordan or something, at which point I'll just have to mute you or something. But yeah, I mean, let's do that at some point. Anyway, I'm here to watch lives. I'm not hopping on to debate. I already know my facts. I can't convince fans like you who justify everything off statistics. Yo, I'm trying to understand, what is the debate? Can someone quickly just sum this up for me in 20 seconds? Oh no. Black Clover greatness. What are you saying? I'll let the playoffs do the talking? You mean the play-in? I'm trying to scroll back, bro. I'm just trying to figure out what you guys are saying. Yo, you guys are just... It's just trash talk. You guys are just trash talk. Oh. Siakam averaged more than 22 versus Sixers in 6 games, though. Keep going. Oh, Jamaballer. You know what? Are you trying to debate that Pascal Siakam is him? Is that your point? Oh shit. You know what, Jam, call in. Let's you and me have a debate. We can have a debate. Let's talk about it. I mean, look, you know, if you wanna talk to somebody who thinks Pascal Siakam is heavily overrated, talk to me. I definitely think that. I definitely do. And you know what? I hate it on a lot. I made a lot of videos about it, made a lot of rants about it, lost 1,000 subscribers over it. I don't care. I'll keep saying it. He'll keep putting up games like this, keep having meltdowns in the playoffs. Yeah. No beef, yo. No beef. No beef. This is a friendly discussion. It's not beef. It's chicken. It's not beef. It's good. Anyways, all right. We're gonna wrap this one early. Seems like, predictable loss. Look, I'm not upset about the loss. I'm not upset about the loss, right? Who are you talking to? Me? So now you do hate on him? Yo, I don't get it. Like, why does everything have to be met with, hating or loving off or dick riding? Like, why does everything have to gravitate and oscillate between such massive extremes? It's not so extreme, okay? Drew Holiday's a better player than VanVleet. Is that hate? No. It's objective insight. It's analytics, like whatever. It's observational. I don't know. It's an observation, like whatever. What is it? Is it hating? No. Fred VanVleet should be in the G League. That's hating. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of sucks though. Like, I felt like, yo, the Atlanta Hawks, shit, like, shocking loss tonight. I said yesterday, someone asked me on a live, if I would take the Raptors over the Hawks in a play-in situation. Got to tell you, I watched a little bit of that game tonight. Yikes. There's today, actually. They are crumbling hard. So on paper, yeah, I like the idea of DeJounte Murray and Trae Young, and I'm still, I don't know, cautiously optimistic that they have a gear that they can just turn on closer to the play-in, or for one game they can sort of come together, but there's so much dysfunction on that team. Like, for them to lose today was just inexcusable. Looking forward, the Raptors have a couple of days off, much needed. Get some rest, speedy recovery, hopefully for Scottie Barnes. Left the game in the second quarter, didn't come back. Next up, the Indiana Pacers. Pacers right behind us, right? So you hope that you can get that game, extend the home winning streak, and you hope that, a loss like this doesn't deflate the sails too much. Because yes, this can be a wake-up call. When you put your guts on the line and you crumble that way, there can be a little bit of finger pointing of like, who the fuck are you, and why did you do this, and why didn't you do this? I hope this is the type of loss that requires leadership, in my opinion. Just, this is the type of loss that requires a calming leader who doesn't point fingers, who doesn't say, oh, well, if this guy hadn't, whatever. No, this is a loss that requires positivity and correction. Someone does need to talk to Pascal Siakam about what he did in the fourth quarter, and about guarding better, and about how much, frankly, I realize some people are going to be very angry to say I'm saying he sold. He did. Okay, and if Scottie had played like that, I would say the same thing about him. It's just a fact. He just did, and he was not ready for that moment. He was not ready for that intensity, and whatever it is about Siakam, one of the most predictable things. I cannot predict when he's going to have a 12-point game or a 25-point game. I can't tell you that he stat pads only against bad teams. He's had plenty of big games against playoff teams. But what I can tell you is there's a feeling to a game that I know he's going to choke in, and it's intense. There's like an air of energy. You remember like Joel Embiid doing airplanes against us and shit? Like that kind of stuff. That's when that energy starts to pick up, fans start booing. Claustrophobia. You start to feel claustrophobic. You start to feel quicksand. You start to feel, you know, the yips. They start to come up. The moment becomes too big. The lights brighten up too much. Some guys, they live for those moments. They thirst for those moments. They practice for those moments because they don't practice with music, right? They practice, you know, like there's some people who are built for those high pressure situations. They just are. When I was a kid, I used to play Beat Larry Bird. That was my biggest advantage as a shooter. Is I used to play Beat Larry Bird, which means all shots had consequences. I didn't just go out and shoot jump shots. I used to shoot jump shots. I'm not kidding. Snow, rain, doesn't matter. 1 a.m., 2 a.m., doesn't matter. I was taking my jump shots. But I wasn't just taking jump shots. In my head, I was playing Beat Larry Bird. It was a game. Let me know in the chat. Did anyone play Beat Larry Bird? Did anyone play that game as a jump shooter? Anyway, the way the game goes is several variations to this, but simply put, the variations are that you start at a certain number, you get a certain number of points. If you make a shot, you lose a certain number of points if you miss a shot, and basically it's like a game where who gets to 21 first, right? So it's always Beat Larry Bird. That's crazy, man. Yeah. So that pressure is like, I'm not comparing it to NBA finals, NBA playoffs, whatever. Some moments are just too big and you fail. You're going up against the best player in the world. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel it. When you get on a court, you know, to get any NBA player in a recorderless room and ask them the question, when you see Dame Lillard 6 seconds to go, he has the ball, do you feel a certain way about it? And just be honest. Of course you do. You've seen all the highlights of him hitting all those shots. There's a fear factor to it. There's a real fear factor. And that means that's gonna raise your anxiety level. Because Dame Lillard in the fourth quarter, with 4 seconds to go, with the ball in his hands, that's pressure. Same thing with Kawhi. You know, there's like a fear factor. When you go up into a game 7 against like a true superstar, some teams beat themselves. They choke because there's an actual fear factor there. You want to have a player that other teams are genuinely afraid of. That's just a fact. You know, it's just. Thank you so much, Kuata from Mars. Thanks for the super sticker, man. I really appreciate it. Zigsaw puzzle. I don't think that's 21, bro. Are you sure? 21 is totally different. It's like it's the way we play 21 here is like American. No, it's not American. American's different. American's like everybody playing. No, 21 is like I take a shot, and if you miss the shot, I get the rebound. Then I take the shot. That's 1 point. Then I go to the free throw line. That's 2 points. That's 21. It's not 21. yo, that's slander. That's slander. Oh, really? Well, I always grew up hearing that was called Beat Larry Bird, and that's how I always played it. Never really talked to anyone about it, so that makes sense. Interesting. Anyway, point being, you listen to Kobe Bryant, you listen to Steph Curry, these guys talk about, big moments, Kevin Durant, Michael Jordan, anyone who's ever taken big shots in the clutch will talk to you about those moments and how, your hands can clam up, how your muscles can tighten a little bit, how your head can start racing into, what happened 10 seconds ago, how the crowd can get into you. I have no idea what that pressure is like. I've done this in front of 180 people to 200 people. I can't even imagine doing this in front of 22,000 people, 21,000 people yelling at you. The pressure tonight on the road, it felt too big. It felt too big for Pascal Siakam. So know this and move forward with it. You know, the Bucks know that Giannis is a limited ball handler and a limited free throw shooter. They know this, so they move with it. They got Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday to close possessions for him, okay? So that he can drive them home in the first 3 quarters, and then later down the line, he can sort of take on a different role, right? That's okay, right? You adjust. Pascal Siakam's a hell of a player. Really good NBA player. Really good NBA player. 2-time All-NBA, 2-time All-Star. Not a closer. Not a closer. His fourth quarter percentages are abysmal. And tonight, putting your abysmal fourth quarter closer into a tough game against the best team in the league and asking him to carry a unit, man, honestly, that's just predictable. It's predictable, right? So you need to manage your lineups a little bit better so you don't put him in that position. Because no matter how much you want him to be him, he is not him. And that's just a reality of the situation. You cannot ask him to be that guy because he's not that guy. He's shown you for 4 straight years he's not that guy. He's a guy who's leading, you know, his best quarter is his first quarter. That's where he does his work. Okay? His best quarter in terms of shooting is his first quarter. His 3-point shooting in the playoffs is abysmal. Go check it. It's not great. His track record in elimination games is not great. So this is not a guy who's gonna show up for you when the lights brighten up. Adjust accordingly. That's okay. That means he can show up for you 70 other games in the year, and he can be a complimentary option. But he needs to learn this about himself too, and he needs to accept this. Self-acceptance is also important. All knowledge is self-knowledge. So if you're not going to be the closer for us, well, we need you to be a great defender for us, which means no more blow-bys on Brook Lopez. We understand he's big. Ask for help. But you cannot let Brook Lopez get past you. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, tough loss for the Raptors. Sucks. They could have moved to 500. Honestly, at this point, I'm rooting for this team. You may not realize it from my tone sometimes, but I'm rooting for this team to just pull it together and give themselves a shot. Give themselves a shot to give us something exciting to root for. I think most people who were rooting for a tank, I think most of us were rooting for a tank because we love the Raptors, man. I know we sometimes get ostracized and criticized in the Raptors community as not being real fans, but I think it's because we are real fans that we wanted this team to do something else. So, you know, you could be a parent and your child decides to get the tattoo anyway, even though you said, hey, man, don't get that tattoo. Got the tattoo anyway. Now what are you going to do? You warned them. Now you just got to you just got to teach them how to, treat the tattoo. You know, you got to love them anyway. So we wanted the Raptors to go one way at the trade deadline. They did not. We wanted the Raptors to probably still tank and maybe do something else. They didn't. So now we are stuck. We as a fan base are sort of stuck, and we got to come together and just say, okay, can we make something of this? And I don't think forcing Pascal Siakam to be a closer for you in the fourth quarter, managing an entire lineup with Will Barton, no. Will Barton, Chris Boucher, no. That lineup cannot. That lineup better not be out to close another fourth quarter. On the road, tight game, no. I think Nick Nurse needs to own up to this. He sat for VanVleet too long. It's crazy to say that, but he did, right? All right. Have a good night, y'all. Yeah, and make sure to hit subscribe. Make sure to hit like. Please do like on your way out. I will appreciate you very much for that. And to the 200 of you who stuck with us, thank you so much. Yeah. Daryl, you make a deal with the kid. They're allowed to get the tattoo, but for everyone they get, I get to design their next one. Yes, that's funny. That's why you're a parent, man. Have a good night, Scott. How was the game, Scott? Did you went to the G League game? How was it? Black Cobra greatness. Celtics suck. Lost to Jazz. Yes, the Celtics have fallen off quite a bit, but they do not suck. Con, great chat. Yeah, man, great chat. So glad to hear it. Tamara, thanks a lot. Oy vey. Yeah, feel free if you ended up taking any pictures, feel free to share them on Instagram, man. Like you feel if you want, you can tag us, whatever. I'm really glad, and a big shout out to Adam for donating those G League tickets. That's very clutch. Also, before I forget, as we go out, a big shout out to our sponsor, Queensway Automotive Group. If you need a car guy in your life, please do check them out. They've decided to support this channel as well as a lot of Raptors and Leafs creators in the space. They're very forward thinking. I've been kind of looking around this space, wondering why is it only betting companies that are focusing on Raptors YouTubers? Someone else needs to get into this, and I'm really glad they did. I'm really glad that they've been so great to us. So if you need a car guy in your life, check the link in the description below. Got some great deals. So if you're looking to get a car at some point, make sure to get it from them. Give them a shout. Give them a, just give them a call and see what you see. And yeah, if you end up buying a car from them, I'm gonna get a little bit of kickback on that. So you'll be supporting Pensar basketball as well. But if nothing else, definitely check out their website, and it's an affiliate link. So yeah, check it out. And yeah, I mean, at some point, I'm gonna definitely plug it in more and let you know a little bit more about them and their locations and all that stuff. It's not gonna be the same message over and over again. We'll adjust it, but my dealings with them so far, very solid people, and a very solid company. So very much vouch for them. We can do a very, very quick Q&A here. What do you think the future of the Rats will be after this year? Honestly, clueless. I don't know. I assume building around Scottie Barnes, but yeah. Sorry. Let me just make this clearer. Q&A time. I'm gonna do Q&As for the next 3 minutes, so just rapid fire it up. So yeah. So Clutch Tatum, future. Honestly, it could go one of two ways, 3 ways, 4 ways, but I hope that they keep their 2023 pick. I see a lot of players in March Madness that I really like, and I'm hoping one of them slips, one of the ones that I really like. And yeah, I think there's a chance that Jakob could fit, and with Scottie, with OG. I think this could be a really exciting team going forward. I definitely think Fred needs to move, and if he doesn't move, he needs to move off the ball. If there are any more questions, literally any questions at all, basketball related, non-basketball related, whatever. Leanne saying Nurse back next year. That's a good question. I think so. But if you had asked me at the beginning of this year, I'd say 100%. Right now, I would say 65%. Top 12. Honestly, I think Nick Nurse likes him a lot, and I don't know why, but I see it. I get it too. I get it. He's smart. He makes decent reads, but he is compromised on defense, and he has been for years. So, oh, that's a great question. Favorite wrestlers growing up? Sting. Sting was my favorite wrestler growing up. Scott Hall, Kevin Nash. I like Stone Cold. I like The Undertaker. Who else? Edge. Edge was cool. Yeah. Any final questions? We got time for one more. Sort of answered this already, I guess, but that's the draft. I probably would want to draft Cason Wallace or Justin Black, right? Sorry, just reading some of these comments. Yeah, I really like Cason Wallace. I'm very high on him. The Ringer has him 9th. Some mock drafts have him 14th, 15th. The player we saw tonight, Drew Holiday, is one of my favorite players in the NBA. He's probably top 10-ish for me. Drew Holiday. He's one of my top. I love Drew Holiday. He's one of my favorite players. I would trade Fred VanVleet and picks to get Drew Holiday. It would just be such a joy to watch him. He just plays the right way. And I see a lot of the same stuff that I saw in Drew in the draft, because I really liked Drew at the time of the draft as well, in Casey Wallace. So I just really like him. Yeah. In terms of, the off season in general, yeah, I don't want to just lose everybody, because I think it's just a waste of assets, and the Raptors really aren't in a place to be just losing players for nothing anymore. Like, we've lost plenty of them. So, yeah, but I would like to see a little bit more direction, and I would like to see the pathway cleared for Scottie to be a full-time point guard. So I just think it's very important for him. Yeah, man, I don't think I'm bad at all. But yeah, to each their own. Um, I think if he could come into next season with a 3-and-D approach, he would be so much better, because he's always going to be a decent playmaker. He's always going to be, capable of all that other stuff. It's more to me like the bread and butter. What's your bread and butter? What do you make your money off of? Is it drives to the rim? Is it gapping? Is it moving without the basketball, or is it this ISO shit? And I think he needs to move away from the ISO stuff, because it's just not as effective as you would like it to be. And just because he's your most talented option right now doesn't mean that he should be. And it probably should be apparent to you that if he's your most talented isolation scoring threat, if he's your most talented playmaker, you're first round and out if you make the playoffs. So you have to, I think if you're the Raptors front office, you have to have a bit of faith that somebody who's not as good as him right now can become better than him, and then you have to give them the reps to do that. And of course, I'm talking about Scottie. So yeah, I'd like him to become more of a 3-and-D guy, and he could still get his 23, 24 points. It's going to come a different way. Yeah, I mean, isn't it crazy that just 3 months ago we were talking, I'm having beef with people like top 15 or top 10. And now we're all, even his fans, are in agreement, not top 20. So, the mighty have fallen, right? But like, I got a lot of hate for this. And I'm still a little bit salty about it, because for 4.5 months I've been trying to tell y'all that he's not a top 5 guy, he's not a top 10 guy, he's not a top 15 guy. And it's like I've been going back and forth with media people and YouTubers and whatever, and it's just like, yes, for a week or 2 weeks, someone can look really stupid for an unpopular take, but over some period of time, like, the truth reveals itself. Yeah, I would. Pascal Siakam, 100%. Sharif, yo, come on, come on. That's like saying Antoine Jameson or Pascal Siakam. Pascal Siakam for sure, man. I'm not trying to slander the guy. I'm just saying, like, the conversations we're having about Pascal are like Pascal and Giannis, Pascal, Jason Tatum. Like, these conversations are crazy. But Pascal and Sharif Abdur-Rahim? No, this is not shade on Sharif Abdur-Rahim, but did Sharif Abdur-Rahim make the playoffs once? Like, maybe once or twice in his career? Like, not great, man. Nah. Well, I wouldn't worry too much about that. Huh? Anyway, all right. That's I don't know. I think it's kind of cool to have a Q&A. Oh, more Q&As. I prefer Hakeem, but I know the answer is Shaq for sure. I liked Hakeem more, even though he stole money from the Raptors, and I did not like that part of it. He was pretty proud of himself too. But yeah, Shaq's definitely had a better career. This comment is so crazy to me, yo. What? Oh my God. Clutch Tatum, you should definitely. Gotta be kidding me, yo. Which JT are you talking about? Because I have a feeling you're talking about Jason Tatum, but is there another JT? Can we just every time someone says PS is better than JT or PS on the same level as JT, I gotta, for my own mental health, I gotta start assigning JT that abbreviation has got to start referring to somebody else, just so I don't lose my mind every single time this comment comes up. So, what's another player? Justin Timberlake, perfect. That's great. You know what? No shade. Justin Timberlake, pretty decent at basketball. Probably doesn't fade under the bright lights. Has a lot of experience with NSYNC. So I'm not so sure about Pascal Siakam being better than Justin Timberlake, to be honest. Jason Terry, honestly, also very clutch, a lot of big shot. So I don't know about that. Justin Trudeau, there we go. We have the answer. Congratulations. We have found, something that PS is definitely better than JT. Great. All right. Okay, and on that, slanderous note about the Liberal Party, we're gonna call it a night. Have a good night, guys. And again, thank you so much for sticking with us. Even though these takes are sometimes unpopular, I promise I am doing my best to be fair across the board, trying to be objective, trying to be informative, and yeah. So thanks for sticking with us. Oh, that comment. That burned so good. That burned so good. That's good. If you get it, you get it. All right. Okay. All right. Have a good night, guys. Cheers.